Once alive with the joyful pitter-patter of small feet and the resounding laughter of the Duggar family, the corridors of their home now exhibited a tranquility not experienced in years. Instead of being a reassuring calm, it was a crushing silence. Beloved daughter of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, Jessa Duggar Seewald had recently endured a silent anguish, a farewell without a greeting, something no mother should ever have to endure. The Duggar family, who are famous for 19 kids and counting, introduced the world to Jessa when she was the fourth child. Navigating the challenges of family, stardom, and faith, she grew up in front of millions. Fans who admired her honesty and elegance were privy to her love story with Ben Seewald, their lovely wedding, and the birth of their 4 children, Spurgeon, Henry, Ivy, and Fern. Once again, though, the cameras weren't rolling. This was an intimate loss. Out of fear that Jessa would never speak again. A heartbreaking revelation. It was a rainy morning in Arkansas when Jessa uploaded a YouTube video simply titled, "A Heartbreaking Loss." Her face was pale, eyes weary, but her voice, though trembling, carried a quiet strength. Sitting beside Ben, holding his hand, she began. "This is something I never imagined I'd be sharing. But I know I'm not alone. And I want to let others who have walked this road know they're not alone either." Jessa was pregnant, her 5th baby. The news had been a whisper in the Duggars circle, cherished and held close to their hearts. The little one would have been due later in the year. But during a routine checkup, something was off. The doctor's tone shifted, the ultrasound screen became a storm of silence, and then came those crushing words no parent ever wants to hear. "I'm sorry. There's no heartbeat." Jessa's world shattered. "I just stared at the screen," she recalled, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I kept thinking, maybe the machine is wrong. Maybe the doctor's mistaken. Maybe. But there were no maybes left. Just the aching truth. Her baby was gone. An empty room, a full heart. The nursery they had started planning stayed untouched. Soft blankets, still folded. A tiny onesie hanging on a hook. A hand-knit cap from Grandma Michelle, waiting in a drawer. All of it, now, sacred relics of a dream that would never be. "I remember lying awake that night," Jessa shared. "I could feel my heart physically hurting. It wasn't just grief. It was like my body was mourning the absence of life." Ben, always her rock, broke down beside her. "It's one of those moments where you wish you could take the pain away," he whispered. "But all you can do is hold her and weep together." Faith in the shadows. The Duggars are a family known for their strong Christian faith, and in times of joy or sorrow, they turn to God. But even for the most devout, faith can feel shaky in the face of such loss. "There were moments I questioned everything," Jessa admitted. "Why did God allow this? Was it something I did? Was there a reason?" But slowly, through prayer, scripture, and support, Jessa began to find solace, not in answers, but in presence. "I didn't get a reason," she said. "But I felt his nearness in my darkest hour. That mattered more than a why." Ben would sit with her every night, reading Psalms aloud. One verse, in particular, became their anchor. "The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Psalm 34:18. Support from a grieving family. When Jessa broke the news to her family, the room fell silent. Michelle Duggar, who had suffered her own miscarriage with baby Jubilee years ago, held her daughter tight and sobbed. "I know this pain," Michelle said through tears. "But I also know healing will come." Her sisters surrounded her, Johanna, Jill, Jinger, Johannah. Each in their own way expressed their love. Jill brought homemade meals. Knowing grief makes you forget to eat. Jinger, who now lives in Los Angeles, flew in quietly to just sit with her sister. Johanna, herself a mother who had lost a baby named Annabelle in 2019, offered words only another grieving mom could understand. "It's a club no one wants to be in," Joy whispered. "But I'm here. You're not alone." The brothers, too, reached out. Even if some didn't have the words, their presence mattered. Messages flooded in from fans, followers, and even strangers, stories of miscarriage, love, and resilience. a goodbye that changed everything. Jessa and Ben made the brave decision to name their baby. They chose the name River Bliss Seewald. River, she explained, because even though our baby's life was brief, it flowed into ours and changed us forever. And Bliss, because we believe that's what our baby is experiencing now, in the arms of Jesus. They held a private ceremony in their backyard. A small white box held River's remains, wrapped in a soft cloth. Jessa wrote a letter, folded it, and placed it inside. A single rose was laid on top. As they lowered the box into the earth, the wind whispered through the trees. Then, voice cracking, read a prayer aloud. The kids released balloons, one for each of their siblings in heaven. Ivy, just old enough to understand something sad had happened, asked, "Will our baby come back?" "No, sweetie," Jessa said softly. "But one day, we'll go to them." Healing. Slowly. The days that followed were raw. Grief doesn't leave quickly. It comes in waves, sometimes silent, sometimes sudden. But healing, too, came in its own way. Jessa began journaling again. She created a scrapbook for River, an ultrasound photo, a dried flower from the backyard, a note from Spurgeon that read, "I love you, baby." These little pieces of memory stitched together the patchwork of her sorrow. Ben returned to their family vlog, hesitantly, but with a sense of purpose. "This isn't just our story," he said. "It's one so many share but feel too ashamed to speak." Together, they started a video series on miscarriage, grief, and healing, offering comfort to the silent sufferers watching from behind screens. A message to the world. Weeks after the loss, Jessa sat down again for one last video, her face brighter, her voice steady. She wasn't over it. You never really are. But she had something important to say. To every mom who's lost a baby, she began. Whether it was early or late, whether you held them in your arms or only in your heart, you are a mother. Your grief is real. Your love is real. And your baby mattered. She paused, tears glistening again. "I carried River for only a few months, but they changed me forever. And I will love them for the rest of my life." What comes next? Life for the Seewalds goes on, but not as it was. Jessa is holding her children closer, appreciating every giggle and every tear. Ben is more tender, more present. Their faith is deeper, not because everything made sense, but because even in chaos, they chose love. When asked if they would try for another baby, Jessa smiled through her sadness. "We're open to whatever God has for us. But for now, we're just learning to breathe again. And that's enough." In memory of River Bliss. In the grand tapestry of life, some threads are short, but they shine with a brilliance that touches every strand around them. River Bliss may never have opened their eyes, but they opened hearts. They taught a family to mourn, to love deeper, and to speak out when silence feels safer. Jessa Duggar's goodbye wasn't just her own. It echoed the cries of thousands of families who've whispered their goodbyes too soon. But in telling her story, she's given them a voice. And in the ache of goodbye, she's reminded the world that love, no matter how brief, leaves a forever mark.